Thailand is a country that has been plagued by political turmoil for more than a decade. The root of the conflict lies in the 2006 coup that ousted Thaksin Shinawatra, a billionaire populist who challenged the traditional royalist elite. Thaksin was accused of corruption and abuse of power, but he also enjoyed widespread support from the rural poor and the urban working class, who benefited from his populist policies such as universal health care and microcredit loans. His opponents, on the other hand, were mainly drawn from the urban middle class, the military and the monarchy, who feared that Thaksin was undermining the constitutional order and the revered institution of the king. The 2006 coup triggered a cycle of protests and counter-protests, violence and instability, that has continued to this day. Thaksin's allies won every election since then, but they were repeatedly removed from power by judicial rulings or military interventions. The most recent coup took place in 2014, when Thaksin's sister Yingluck Shinawatra was ousted by then-Army Chief Prayuth Chan-o-cha, who became the prime minister of a military-backed government. Prayuth promised to restore democracy and national reconciliation, but he also cracked down on dissent, imposed a new constitution that favored the military and delayed elections for 5 years. In 2019, Thailand finally held its first general election since the coup, but it was marred by allegations of fraud and manipulation. The Thaksin-linked Pheu Thai party won the most seats in the lower house, but it was unable to form a majority coalition. Instead, Prayuth managed to secure his second term as prime minister with the help of a pro-military party and a controversial Senate that was appointed by the junta. The opposition parties cried foul and accused Prayuth of stealing the election. They also faced legal challenges and dissolution threats from the courts and the election commission. The 2019 election did not resolve Thailand's political crisis, but rather deepened it. The country remains divided along ideological, regional and class lines. The pro-democracy movement, led by young activists and students, has been staging mass rallies since last year, demanding Prayuth's resignation, a new constitution and reform of the monarchy. The latter is a taboo topic in Thailand, where criticizing the king can land you in jail for up to 15 years. The protesters argue that the monarchy has too much power and influence over politics and society, and that it needs to be more accountable and transparent. The royalists, on the other hand, see the king as the protector of the nation and its culture, and view any attempt to change his role as an act of treason. The situation in Thailand is tense and volatile. The government has responded to the protests with force and repression, arresting hundreds of activists and charging them with sedition and lèse-majesté. The protesters have vowed to continue their fight until their demands are met. Meanwhile, the economy is suffering from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the decline of tourism. The people are frustrated and angry with the lack of progress and justice. The country is heading towards another election on Sunday, May 14th, but many doubt that it will bring any meaningful change or solution to Thailand's long-standing political deadlock. The main parties and candidates in the 2023 election, their platforms, and their chances of winning. Thailand's election on May 14th is a showdown between the conservative establishment backed by the military and the progressive opposition led by the Shinawatra family. 67 parties are competing for 500 seats in the House of Representatives, which will choose the next prime minister along with a 250-member Senate appointed by the military. The leading party in the polls is Pheu Thai, controlled by the billionaire Shinawatra family, which has won every election since 2001. Its prime ministerial candidate is Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the youngest daughter of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who was ousted by a coup in 2006 and lives in exile. Pheu Thai's platform promises to restore democracy, amend the military-drafted constitution, increase public spending and welfare, and reform the monarchy. The main challenger to Pheu Thai is Palong Pracharat, the ruling party led by former Army Chief Prayuth Wongsuwan, who was involved in the 2014 coup that toppled Thaksin's sister Yingluck Shinawatra. Palong Pracharat's platform defends the status quo, supports the monarchy, promotes national security and stability, and vows to continue the government's economic policies and infrastructure projects. Another contender is United Thai Nation, a new party formed by incumbent Prime Minister Prayuth Chan-o-cha, another former army chief who led the 2014 coup and has been in power ever since. United Thai Nation's platform emphasizes Prayuth's achievements in restoring order, fighting corruption, handling the COVID-19 pandemic, and improving Thailand's international reputation. Prayuth also promises to uphold democracy, protect human rights, and foster national unity. A rising force in Thai politics is Move Forward, a progressive party that emerged from the pro-democracy protests that rocked Thailand in 2020. Its prime ministerial candidate is Pita Limjaroenrat, a young entrepreneur and former leader of Future Forward Party, which was dissolved by a court order in 2020 for violating electoral laws. Move Forward's platform calls for a new constitution that reduces the power of the military and the monarchy, decentralizes authority to local governments, promotes social justice and equality, and tackles climate change. A potential kingmaker in the election is Bum Jaithai, a regional party that controls many seats in northeastern Thailand. Its leader is Anutin Charnvirakul, a tycoon and former public health minister who spearheaded Thailand's successful campaign to legalize cannabis. Bum Jaithai's platform focuses on boosting rural development, improving healthcare and education, and promoting cannabis as a new cash crop. According to most analysts and polls, Pheu Thai has the best chance of winning the most seats in the House of Representatives, followed by Pawang Pracharat and United Thai Nation. However, none of them are likely to win an outright majority, which means they will have to form coalitions with smaller parties to secure enough votes to elect their prime ministerial candidate. Moreover, they will face a formidable obstacle in the Senate, which is expected to favor Prayuth or Prawit over Paetongtarn or Pita. Therefore, the outcome of Thailand's election remains uncertain and unpredictable. Thailand is a country that has been struggling to achieve a genuine democracy for decades. The military has staged 13 coups since 1932, the latest one in 2014, when it ousted the elected government of Yingluck Shinawatra, the sister of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Thaksin himself was deposed by a coup in 2006, after he challenged the power and privileges of the royalist elite and the army. The 2014 coup was followed by 5 years of military dictatorship under General Prayuth Chan-o-cha, who suppressed dissent, banned political activities, and rewrote the constitution to entrench the military's influence over politics. In 2019, Prayuth became the prime minister again after a controversial election that was widely seen as rigged in his favor. The election system was designed to give an advantage to pro-military parties and prevent a comeback of Thaksin's allies, who have won every election since 2001. The system gives the military-appointed Senate a say in choosing the Prime Minister, along with the elected House of Representatives. This means that Prayuth only needed 1/4 of the votes in the House to secure his position, while his opponents needed more than 3/4. Another obstacle for a democratic transition in Thailand is the Lèse Majesté law, which prohibits any criticism of the monarchy and carries a penalty of up to 15 years in prison. The law has been used to silence activists, journalists, academics, and politicians who challenge the status quo or call for reforms. The law also shields the monarchy from public scrutiny and accountability, despite its immense wealth and influence. The current king, Maha Vajiralongkorn, who ascended to the throne in 2016 after the death of his father, has consolidated his power by taking direct control of the crown assets, the royal guards, and some army units. He has also intervened in politics by endorsing the 2014 coup, approving the 2017 constitution, and changing some electoral rules before the 2019 election. The possibility of legal or military intervention to prevent a non-establishment government is also high in Thailand, as history has shown. The courts have dissolved several parties and banned many politicians who were allied with Thaksin or opposed to the military. The army has threatened to use force against protesters who demand democracy and reforms. These challenges and obstacles have sparked widespread discontent and frustration among many Thais, especially the younger generation, who have taken to the streets since 2020 to demand a new constitution, a new election, an end to the Lèse Majesté law, and reform of the monarchy. These are unprecedented and bold demands that challenge the core pillars of Thailand's political system. The protesters have faced violent crackdowns, arrests, prosecutions, and harassment from the authorities and their supporters. But they have also inspired hope and courage for millions of Thais who aspire for a more democratic and just society.